Hello and welcome to what should be a build-along / review / talk ASMR something or other with myself, AdamusPrime, aka Adam Mitalinsky, aka, if you follow me on Twitter, it's at SwiftAgent24. There's a long story behind that, but basically I'm trying to go for the AdamusPrime thing. Anyway, getting sidetracked already. This is the Mattel Playleontology kit STEM Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it looks amazing. What we're going to do, the aim of this video, is to excavate this so that we have that to go with these. And it's a one-time thing, so when I got this I thought, I want to do this, but I want to keep that memory of doing it as well. So, as we're all in lockdown, it's crazy times at the moment. As we're all in a bit of a stale situation, shall we say, this seems like something we can all just have in the background. Worst case scenario, this will be something in your background like the radio, probably. Best case scenario, I'll hopefully provide something informative and interesting to watch. Very high hopes, have to admit. So, shall we begin? Now then, I am actually holding the camera at the moment, but if I pop it down, this is where angles get a little bit awkward. Now I've already opened it. I've already put this together. The sign for the T-Rex, like the others in the series, it's double-sided. You get a lovely detailed CG graphic of the Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton, and yep, it's of the actual model itself rather than a real T-Rex skeleton. Not sure which I prefer, but as we're going on this little action gimmick that this series also has, then I'm okay with it being the toy skeleton. And if we switch it back round, the classic Jurassic World render of Rexy herself with the raptor scars from the first film. So if we put that to one side, and I'm going to hit pause, and it should be open when I get back. Hooray, we're back! So, this is what was in the box. I've now put the camera on its Connect stand on the actual outside box itself. It's an interesting little build. I like Connects, you'll see. I like building stuff, so of course I had to build a little stand for it. Yeah, so in this cardboard wrap that we have the stand in, we also have the base for the skeleton and the tools in which to excavate. Now, I'm not sure about these tools because way back in the 90s I had similar dinosaur excavation kits, one of which was a velociraptor. I can't remember the other one, but this is a solid thing, so I'm not sure how well this plastic is going to chip away at this. I'm hoping this won't take too long, but we shall have to wait and see. Okay, so we have this. We have the block as well, which is quite heavy. It's definitely heavy against everything else. And when it's in the box, it will be notably heavier on one side than it is the other. My instructions, because of course, and we'll be following them later. We've also got the canister in which to place the little genetic gimmick that we have in all of the other STEM kits. And this is just a piece of card. So, let's get cracking. Oh, tell you what, I'll pause it again. And we are back. Now, one thing to note is that this is very chalky. So, I suppose it fits with these things. So, yeah, the T-Rex skeleton is in here somewhere. And we are about to unveil something. That works. So, what I did on social media... Oh, by the way, big shout out to Tom_Jurassic of Jurassic Collectibles, who helped a little bit with the tweet outs that I did for people to ask me some questions, because this may take a while. I've no idea how long, hopefully under half an hour, because I need lunch. So, Thomas very graciously retweeted that with a question of his own. Unfortunately, a lot of other people responded to his question as if he was asking everybody else. Yep, keeping that spirit, guys. And to be fair, I did get a lot of likes on my original tweet itself, which was nice, but I've only got like 1 or 2 questions, maybe 2.5. The original question from Mr. Tom_Jurassic is, if you could study one dinosaur in real life, which would you choose and why? That is the question. Or 2. Well, now, if you know me, y'all know that my favourite dinosaur is probably the Spinosaurus. So, I would automatically say the Spinosaurus. Now, there's a lot of there's been a lot of debate and discussion and first chip off the old block. There's been a lot of debate and discussion about Spinosaurus in the paleontological communities, for many reasons. And of course, the Spinosaurus gained mega stardom with Jurassic Park 3, which is how I came to love that creature. Now, do actual paleontologists have this problem? Okay, so when Jurassic Park 3 came out, of course, I was in love with the movies already, but impressionable young me at... how old was I when it came out? I was 10 when it came out, and as soon as I saw the film, my whole brain was, this dinosaur can take out a T-Rex, this is amazing. Now, that might be a controversial statement, but back then I didn't realise controversy in general. So I wasn't aware that that was a controversial decision thing to do, and it went as so far as getting the DVD way back. Oh, you can stick this in. It went as so far as getting the DVD and watching all the behind the scenes stuff, the kind of stuff that makes me want to, made movies myself, and watching Joe Johnston's interviews about the Spinosaurus and his justification that, well, the T-Rex had been the king, the ruler of the previous 2 movies, so it was time to switch up a bit. And I was all, yeah, that makes sense. That legit makes sense. So I was on board. I was fully on board with the Spino, and I'm not sure how much they knew about the Spino with Jurassic Park 3. Apparently, they knew enough to make it... to make it somewhat like a Baryonyx or Suchomimus, which are referenced in the film. Not doing much excavating, am I? Yeah. Because in paleontological history, famously, the main remains of Spinosaurus that was uncovered in Africa got destroyed during bombing raids in World War II. Damn shame, old chaps, but there you go. Thankfully, we were able to discover more. Yeah. Okay. Ah dear. Well, this is why I wanted questions, y'all. because I thought this might take a while. Okay. No, that's not going any further. I just hack at it. I'm gonna just hack at it. Now, that cardboard I put under there, as you can see, to catch them, because you don't want a dirty table full of plaster. And, oh, hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ha! My first paleontological... what's it called? Discovery for... Let's... Do you hear that? That's something hard. That's something hard. Or it's something harder than the rest of it. I think we've come across the first part of the skeleton. This is why you're watching. I hope. Okay, that's going in nicely. So, yeah. Oh, we've cracked. Oh, can you see that? Look at that. Oh, wow. See, this is why they do these sorts of kits, so you can have this experience. Oh, man, that's amazing. Okay, so where was I? Spinosaurus. Yes, basically. So that's kind of why Spinosaurus ended up being my favourite, because of Jurassic Park 3. And it was only a few years after the movie came out, then I started realising, oh, people don't like this movie as much as the first two, especially not the original Jurassic Park. So, and I thought it was just things to do with things like the rapid prototype, things like, oh, that's ridiculous, that can't exist, what is this nonsense? Yeah. So, when we got further along, and yeah, Jurassic Park 3 kind of put the franchise on ice, to be fair, for a long while. But during that time, we got discoveries. We got more discoveries regarding the Spinosaurus. We got more advancements in technology, which led to 3D printing, which is basically what the rapid prototyper was. So my nostalgia brain was going, I'm vindicated, because I believe it was 2006 that the Spinosaurus was crowned the largest carnivore, or land carnivore, ever to walk the earth, or, ever to exist. And it's like, finally, we get some confirmation, because, as we know in the movie, it's hella big. It's big. It's bigger than the T-Rex. And yes, I'm just getting so excited. Oh, I'm not sure if you can. If I just swing this over a little bit, you can see ribcage. Lovely. So, yeah, so mid-2000s, I felt vindicated. I felt like my boy has been vindicated. And, as you grow older, you recognise more critically things in general. And if you're into movies like I am, and into franchises like I am, ooh, there's another button here, actually, and you start to realise, you start to recognise faults, flaws, well, subjectively seen as faults and flaws, but objectively things that they could have done better, maybe, and that's when it's very dusty, and that's when you come across things like more arguments as to why people don't like the things that you like, and it's trying to have that dissonance between, I like this thing, but I recognise why people don't, which is absolutely fine. Because like the turn of millennium, I call it the turn of millennium. The turn of the millennium, can't speak. The turn of the millennium is the time where my favourite films really came out. Like I always say, my favourite action movie of all time is Mission Impossible 2, which I know is not as well loved as any of the other Mission Impossibles. But you know what? I absolutely adore it. It's ridiculous, it's insane, but I love it. and Hans Zimmer actually did the score for that, and I tend to play and absolutely love the score for it. That's one thing. And I've learnt to play some of the Mission Impossible 2 stuff on the guitar. And because there was very Spanish flamenco inspired bits to the score, I've tend to play those bits, and I've had people, I haven't had people, but some people have heard what I've been playing and said, "Oh, that sounds good. That sounds flamenco. That sounds a bit Spanish," and it's like, yeah, it's from Mission Impossible 2. So, yeah, some things can surprise you. Anyway, questions. There was a question from Mr. Tom Jurassic. Again, thank you very much. If you could study one dinosaur in real life. Why does it have to be one, Tom? Just the one. Fine, yes. Yes, I would pick the Spinosaurus. Back on track, back on topic. Mainly because the Spinosaurus, during its life of discovery in the paleontological sense, it's gone through so many changes, and it would be nice to, nail down what the Spinosaur actually looked like, to a degree where practically all of the paleontological community can agree that this is what it was like. Because as far as I understand it, there is still a lot of discourse, shall we say, and lots of arguments to say this, that, or the other, whether it had itself on all fours, whether it spent most of its time in water. I think one of the main things that a lot of people have agreed on is that it's a piscivore, which absolutely makes sense. And, whilst we're Spinosauring, I would recommend words. I would recommend, if you haven't seen it, Planet Dinosaur, BBC series from sometime in the last decade. I can't remember what the date was. I can't remember what the year was. But Planet Dinosaur, I think it's on Netflix, especially the British Netflix, narrated by John Hurt, who I met, by the way. And there is a big section dedicated to the Spinosaurus as they understood it when the programme was made. And there was all kinds of new discoveries, and I think it must be the case that they featured the Spinosaur because of its popularity due to Jurassic Park 3. And as much as I love the JP3 Spino, it was so amazing, to find out more about this, and more about the actual dinosaur itself. Especially the indentations in its nose, or in its snout, should I say, that resembles those of a crocodile, or crocodilians, that indicates that it was able to sense electrical impulses from its prey, i.e. fish. So you've got this, so now there's this idea of the Spinosaurus gently dipping its snout into water, and then at the right time when a fish goes past, nabs it, And that behaviour is actually in Jurassic World Evolution, the video game by Frontier. And even though the fish feeders were a late addition to the game, the Spinosaur and its relatives Suchomimus and Baryonyx exhibit that behaviour, which I think is amazing. So it's nice to see that blend of what we know in pop culture, especially Jurassic-wise, and up-to-date knowledge of paleontology. Now, I suppose it has to be said that I'm not a paleontologist. I'm just a dinosaur enthusiast. So, if I get something wrong, if I've got something wrong, just bear with me, because nobody gets everything right. Nobody's perfect. So, but I tell you what, though, that sounds like another bone. So let's dig in and crack it open. So I can, you can just see a little bit of bone popping out there. I mean, obviously it's plastic, but it's just so cool, the idea of talking about the bone as if it's real. Right, let's actually use the brush. May not actually need to use the brush. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how much damage I end up doing to the actual the skeleton pieces as well. Oh, hello. Hello, what have we here? That looks like a socket. What kind of socket? We need to find out. Okay. Yeah, that didn't do much. Okay. Okay, we need to have a close-up look at that. You see the socket? That may be a connecting hip joint. Don't think it looks like the skull. That skull may be at a later date. Alright. So yes, Tom. Spinosaurus, that's the one thing I would study. Not just because it's my favourite dinosaur, but because there's so many different theories and reconstruction studies, etc. So yes, that one. As I said, there was another person who responded to the tweet outs. Somebody said, oh, where is it now? Somebody said, aha, there we go. Somebody said Velociraptors, Commander T Dog, that's their Twitter handle, said Velociraptors or Brachiosaurs. Now, this was a response to Tom's retweet question, so I'm not actually sure if that response is